got a great group of guests this evening. In the second hour, we will be joined by Andrea the Giant. But first, it's none other than former WWE Tag Team Champion. He's here. He's with us. It's Bubba the Belt Collector.
The Undisputed Wrestling Show. I'm Big Brother.
All right, so you may not know the Bubba the Belt Collector, but I'm sure you know Tugboat. I'm sure you know Typhoon. And forever in infamy, we know the Shockmaster, Fred Ottman, is here. Hi, Fred.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Hey, I can't complain at all, man. Had a pretty busy week for you. You've been out. We got to meet you at the Heroes and Legends 3 up in Fort Wayne. The Undisputed Wrestling Show was there, and Tugboat was there as well. We had a great time talking to you there, and had a really good turnout. The matches were fun. Just a really good time there. How did you enjoy your experience?
Oh, man, it was excellent. The fans were, like you said, the fans were great. I enjoyed watching some of the matches. Liked all the festivities and everything. I mean, it was a great weekend. I mean, the weather was good. It was a little cool, but it was nice. It was a great change from where I was coming from.
The only negative to it at all, Fred, was that Zane and I were fully anticipating the Shockmaster helmet, but you were being promoted as Tugboat, according to yourself, and we're not able to do that, right?
Yeah, I do have it, though. It sits on my table, the case, and it travels with me often.
Excellent. Let's start off, Fred, real quick. Let's talk about how you got into the business. What made you decide you wanted to be a professional wrestler? I already referred to Bubba the Belt Collector, but you were U.S. Steel, Big Steel Man. I guess, how did you get your start with those gimmicks at the beginning of your career?
Some of them were me. There's other names of wrestler. When I really broke into business, I was sent out to Texas first. But in training, I was the mighty Siegfried. How about that one? Kind of
wow.
Coincidental. Sick Fred, Sick Free. So it's kind of a good deal, and that was, it was a name given to me. When I was training in Malenko School. I was living in Miami, Florida, when the boys used to come into the gym I trained at when they were wrestling in town, and kept talking to me about, man, you're a big guy and this and that and everything. And I found out they told me about Malenko having a school on the weekends up in Fort Lauderdale. And I'm like, well, I'm going to go check it out. So they finally talked me into checking it out. I went up there, liked what I see, met everybody, and they were fantastic. And Malenko, he was awesome. One of my favorites when I was a kid. So, watched him all through high school and everything. So, I mean, it was awesome. So I started training, and then he had another school up north in Tampa that was open 7 days a week. So eventually I made the big move to Tampa, and I trained up there for about 2 years. And matter of fact, he's the one who initially got me booked to my first territory, which was San Antonio, Texas. And it was awesome. When I went out there, I was wrestling as the Terminator, all in black, and and went on from there. From there, I went to they eventually changed my name to Bubba, because that's like a term of endearment there. Everyone calls each other, hey, Bubba, how's it going, Bubba? So the promoter, Fred Barron, decided to make me into a big baby face. Bubba, I was driving a Jeep and all that stuff, and that's where that stuck with me. And then I went and got booked from there. After about a year and a half, I went to Memphis, Tennessee with Lawler and Jerry for their promotion there. And there I still wrestled as Bubba, Big Bubba, and then they changed me to Superstar Bubba, which was the alter ego coming out to Run DMC. If you have never seen the video on YouTube, they are very, very, very hilarious. And you can see my dance moves. And even in one spot, there's an angle where me and Rocky Johnson are going to have a dance contest. And while he's showing me his dance moves, I take a giant box and literally smash in half over his head. One of the highlights of my career, I must say, being able to smash a giant boombox over somebody's head. Yeah.
So where did Bubba the Belt Collector come from? That's one of my favorite wrestling names of all time.
Well, that's there in Memphis, man, because I was collecting belts left and right. Matter of fact, the infamous Sid Udi or Sid Vicious as we call him, he was there wrestling under us as Lord Humongous at the time when I was down there. You know, but I was collecting all the belts in that territory. Matter of fact, me and my wife were watching a disc that a fan sent me the other day, and it was loaded with good stuff from there. Yes, I must say. Downtown Bruno was my manager at that time. Later became Harvey Whippleman.
Yes.
And before ECW fame. Oh my God, what's his name? The guy that run ECW.
Paul Heyman, Dangerously.
Paul Heyman. That's where he made his managerial debut down there. So it was a pretty interesting territory with some of the people that came through there. You
got an early start in your career wrestling against Scott Hall and feuding with him for a while. Did you have any idea he'd become the big star that he would go on to become a WWE Hall of Famer this year?
I think a lot of people, you know what I'm saying? It's just like with a lot of people. Here with Scott Hall, good-looking guy, good wrestler, part of that Minnesota crowd, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. A lot of good people came out of Minneapolis, you know what I'm saying? Apple Valley and stuff like that. And he was a really good wrestler, and it was when they gave him that gimmick in New York, it was great, took him to the next.
Were you intimidated by his mustache back then?
Was I intimidated by his mustache?
Yes.
Oh, that PI kind of look. No, I had one of my own, so not intimidated.
We are talking to the illustrious Typhoon, WWE Tag Team Champion, wrestled in WWF and WCW. We're turning it over to Zane Paisley. Zane, what you got for Mr. Ottman?
Very, very pleasurable to meet you, sir, a couple weeks ago in Fort Wayne, and so happy to have you on. So from there, you went on to join the WWF, and one of the first things I remember about you was hooking up with Hogan, and I remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, Hogan had been hurt by somebody, and you were in charge of getting bracelets sold so people could support Hogan while he was hurt. Can you explain?
I sold enough Hogan Rules bracelets to reach to the moon and back, baby. Okay, the greatest pitchman in history. Let me tell you something, brother. Eat your vitamins, say your prayers. Hope use the man.
So you went from being not a household name to being on everybody's TV screens and being hooked up with the most popular wrestler of all time. What was going through your head when they put you in that spot?
My hands were sweating profusely. Some with flip-flops, and the list goes on. Being put out there, first of all, say, when they came up with it, I was there 6 or 8 months wrestling as U.S. Steel when I came to Florida, when I got my break and an opportunity. But like many, many wrestlers prior to me, Hulk Hogan, it's an icon. He's like incredible. I mean, he took the business of wrestling to the next level. The rock and wrestling era, all the individual characters that were phenomenal. I mean, just incredible. Him to touch you was like the Midas touch. Would take you to the next level. You know what I'm saying? If you had the opportunity to work against him, the same thing, whoever the heel was, and they kept feeding him and feeding him and feeding him. So, I mean, it was a tremendous, opportunity, and it was incredible feeling. I mean, I was nervous going through that curtain every night. Once I hit the ring, boom, it was all gone. You know what I'm saying? It was business. But, I mean, he was a tremendous guy. Still a very tremendous guy. It's been a while now. It's been a couple months since I've seen him because he was training at Luke of the Bushwhackers, his gym on Clearwater Beach, where I was living over there for a while before going up for a few months. So I used to see him in the gym all the time. And now he's, going here, going there, going everything with the new network launched and all the new stuff going on, getting ready to go to WrestleMania 30. I mean, he's on top of the world, and it was an honor for me to be part of that history back then.
The Undisputed Wrestling Show's secret weapon, the Morning Star, Will Huckabee. What do you got for Mr. Ottman tonight?
Well, first of all, Mr. Ottman, it's a pleasure and an honor speaking to you. My question is this, right around the time when you were still Tugboat, you had a pretty, it was a nice little 3-4 month long run, where you was really working The Undertaker when he actually first came into the WWE. What was your feelings and thoughts working with him around that time?
It was great. Even though he was new there, he was great. I had his first match, him and Paul Bearer. He was tremendous. I mean, to see a guy like that climb the turnbuckle and walk the top rope, drop the elbow on you. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, he's a big boy, very good in all of his stuff. I mean, the gimmick was awesome. I mean, the dead man gimmick, he'd think he was out and then poof, he'd set up and just freak people out, and his opponents the same way. So I mean, it was tremendous. And I mean, Mark is a great guy, tremendous worker, and a smart person.
Now, when you was working with him back then, did you actually have any idea that the Mark Calloway that you was working, the guy who was the Undertaker at that time, would go on to become the Phenom, the Undertaker, the icon that he is now, and have such an incredible run, not only wrestling wise, but also at WrestleMania?
Well, you can never predict. You can ask me about any character that ever came about. I mean, unless you call Dionne Warwick with the Psychic Friends hotline, you're going to have no idea because, people change. Look at Steve Austin. He was middle of the card for years and years and years till he, never went anywhere. He was a great athlete, was a great worker, but just never had the opportunity. Same with Triple H, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You never know where fate's going to take you or the business is going to take you,
Yeah.
Just have to be ready when your time comes.
Yeah, exactly. I see so much a lot of times on the internet, on the Facebook and stuff like that. So many people that are so catty and so judgmental about other workers in the business. Like on the independent, I like to go to independent shows. I like to watch the young guys, the young talent that's out there that's coming up the run. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's going to, the guy you may be throwing stones at or judging on the net may be the main eventer in the future. So, never cast the first stone, but you need the best thing to do. A lot of these guys to sit back, like they told me, get dressed, shake everybody's hand, and do your job when you go out there and have the best matches you can have, whether it be in front of one person or many people.
Now, Fred, when you're watching these independent matches, and obviously, the workers there are going to look at you as a mentor type of person and want to get your feedback. Besides what you just said a moment ago, what do you tell these guys? I mean, are you completely honest with them and evaluate them for them, or do you just really give them more what they need to do in the industry to succeed?
Well, you know what? Whatever I say, it's just an opinion. And they can talk to a million other guys out there, and opinions are like rear ends. Everybody's one of them. Some stinks, you know what I mean?
Right.
But, you know what I'm saying? But, I mean, I'm always honest. I have a couple guys that get in contact with me on the net, through my Facebook, and, I'll talk to them, I'll give my phone number, talk to me, and I'll give you the best, I can, without seeing you work. I mean, if I'm there and I see somebody work, I'm going to compliment them if I see some stuff they do right. If they want to ask me, I'll give them my opinion, and it'll be an honest opinion. But you got to remember, and a lot of people look at like, well, you're a big guy in that style, but you know what? All of us went through the same type wrestling schools. All of us, the arm drags, the top wrist lock, reversals, slams, all that stuff. We all did. Don't matter if you're 8 feet tall or, if you're 5 foot tall, or shorter, if you're a midget, which is little people. I want to be politically correct here,
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? But the bottom line is, you got to spend time in the gym, look after your gimmick, because you go to a lot of independents and they don't realize that the gimmick they wear into the ring or whatever. Always try to look as professional as possible when you show up, not in old tattered jeans, ripped up, whether you're wrestling in a flea market or you're working in a bull arena. And it sounds funny, but I've worked in those places. You know what I'm saying? No matter where you're working, always present yourself as a professional and always conduct yourself as a professional and work hard, and keep working and working. So many people are worried about doing 1,000 million moves, but everything that they should be doing should be the best. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
All the moves that you do should be the best moves. You know what I'm saying? Not just doing stuff. you know, and the same with, I recommend to all guys, watch all the matches that you can watch. Watch other people's stuff. See what looks good. See what doesn't look good. You know what I'm saying? You know, and that's how you learn. I used to watch them all. If I was last match, I'd be watching the ones up to the point where I go out there. If I was first or second match, I'd be doing my match, finish, and watch the other matches. You know, I'd be by the curtain, man, you know, watching, you know, and, you know, that's the only way you learn. That's the only, you know, what looks good. Let me try this or let me try that. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. Or I'd have somebody watch my match if they would. You know, the biggest joke in the world is, did you watch my match? Oh, yeah. Who'd you work with? You know?